Chosen one, God is making a way. God made a way. This message is for you, for the one who has walked through storm after storm and still refused to give up, for the one who was counted out, overlooked, misunderstood, and yet still stood firm in the face of everything trying to tear you down. You are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. Something is shifting in the atmosphere just for you. A divine intervention is unfolding, and no matter how blocked the road may have seemed, no matter how high the mountain or how long the delay, God is making a way. Before we dive in, let me invite you into something sacred. Watch this video until the very end, because every moment you stay is a seed you're planting into your own destiny. Let it unfold in your spirit. And if this speaks to you, don't forget to comment your warmest wishes, 99 and 777 below. This isn't just a message, it's a movement, a glory journey. Subscribe and come with us, because something extraordinary is happening here. This is the space where wishes come true and the universe dances in your favor. Now listen closely, chosen one. There is a divine detour taking place. Where you once hit dead ends, doors are now creaking open. Where people once said no, the silence is breaking with a powerful yes. Where you felt stuck, confused, and cornered, a supernatural shift is happening. You see, God never needed a perfect road to bless you. He only needed your faith. And even when your faith was small, He saw it as enough. You have cried quietly, smiled publicly, and carried weight no one else could see. And yet, despite it all, you've kept going. That strength wasn't unnoticed. That endurance wasn't wasted. The very pain that was meant to break you has become the ground where miracles are about to bloom. You are standing on the edge of something breathtaking, something divine, and it didn't come from your striving. It came from His plan. There's a way being made in the silence. Not everyone will see it. Not everyone will believe it. But you, your spirit already knows. The frustration you felt wasn't rejection, it was redirection. The delays weren't punishment, they were preparation. The people who left weren't meant to stay where you're headed. And the moments you felt forgotten were the very moments God was crafting the most unforgettable chapters of your life. You are walking into a season where the impossible becomes the testimony, where the pieces finally fit, where the waiting makes sense, and most of all, where the way that is being made will shock everyone, including you. Not because it was random, but because it was written. From the beginning, your path was marked by the divine. You were never walking alone, and now, as you move forward, the ground is firming beneath your feet. The uncertainty is lifting. The heaviness is dissolving. A divine road is appearing, not because it always makes sense, but because it's always been meant for you. There is no turning back. There is only through the noise, through the fear, through the confusion. Because what is ahead of you carries more light than what is behind you ever did. This is not the time to shrink. This is the time to rise. The way may not look like what you expected, but it's better. It's safer. It's deeper. It's wrapped in grace, drenched in favor, and guarded by the divine. You don't have to push. You don't have to prove. You only have to keep walking, because the way has already been made. There is a sacred rhythm to your journey that even you couldn't predict. What you once thought were detours were actually divine alignments. Each moment that made you feel like everything was falling apart was actually the construction zone for something far greater being assembled just behind the scenes. God does not operate on visible evidence. He works in the unseen, in the quiet, in the stillness. And while you were waiting, He was building. You have felt the weight of silence, the ache of not knowing, the exhaustion of wondering whether any of this was worth it. You've walked through seasons where the people you poured into turned away, where the dreams you carried seemed to stall mid-air, where nothing you tried seemed to unlock the next step. But here's what you didn't know. It was never about unlocking it yourself. It was about allowing the divine to unfold it in time. What's coming now is not a reward for performance, but a confirmation of alignment. God is not making a way because you did everything right. He's making a way because you are in the right place, spiritually, energetically, and emotionally. You were brave enough to heal when it was easier to hide. You were courageous enough to forgive when it felt safer to stay bitter. You were bold enough to stay when your mind said run. All of that matters now. All of that was seen. This moment, this sacred unfolding, is the fulfillment of quiet faith. You planted seeds in the dark, and now light is breaking through the soil. You didn't beg for miracles, you embodied them. You didn't chase validation, you stood in your truth. You didn't force doors open, you waited until they turned on their own. And now, the path is forming before you, one step at a time. There is no need to know the entire map. The guidance will come as you go. You don't have to see the finish line to take the first step. You just have to trust that you're not walking into uncertainty, you're walking into fulfillment. There is purpose in this path. There is protection in this direction. And above all, there is peace. The kind of peace that doesn't always make sense, but always makes you stronger. Everything that once said no is being reversed. Everything that was held back is being released. Everything that was locked is now being unlocked, not by force, but by divine timing. You were never waiting in vain. You were waiting in alignment. And now, it's happening. Not slowly, not gradually, but powerfully and undeniably. The way is being made where there was no way. Opportunities are being created with your name on them. Rooms are being prepared for your presence. Doors are swinging wide. Not just any doors, but the right ones. And the most beautiful part? You don't have to convince anyone of your worth to walk through them. You were already chosen. This isn't just about breakthrough. It's about becoming. You are becoming the person who was always meant to walk in this level of purpose, this level of peace, this level of clarity. The version of you that doubted, feared, or hesitated is dissolving. And the version of you that rises, shines, and leads is emerging. Not because life got easier, but because your spirit got stronger. Keep your eyes open, chosen one. The signs are everywhere. The confirmations are subtle, yet powerful. Pay attention to the quiet nudges, the aligned conversations, the effortless opportunities. These are not coincidences. They are coordinates. They are leading you forward. They are preparing you for the very thing you were born to do. You've been carried in seasons where your own strength ran dry. You've been held up by something greater when your mind whispered, "This is the end." But it wasn't the end. It was the sacred turning point. The point where everything you didn't understand began to make sense without needing to be explained. The pain had a purpose. The silence held a plan. And the isolation was never a punishment. It was divine insulation. You were pulled back not to be forgotten, but to be refined, to be reshaped for what your name is attached to. You couldn't carry this weight in your old identity. You couldn't hold this level of purpose with wounded hands. So you were hidden, not for shame, but for preparation. You were removed, not for rejection, but for realignment. What felt like delay was God's way of upgrading your foundation so you could stand stronger on higher ground. Now that the way is being revealed, the shift is not only around you, it's within you. Your discernment is sharper. Your energy is sacred. Your peace is non-negotiable. What you tolerate has changed. What you chase has transformed. You're no longer seeking to prove. You're positioned to receive. This is the power of divine movement. It doesn't beg. It doesn't struggle. It doesn't panic. It flows because it knows it is supported. You are not walking into just another chapter. You are walking into the appointed moment where prophecy collides with reality. The calling you felt but couldn't articulate is now turning into clarity. The visions that once only lived in your dreams are showing up in your reality. There is no more wondering when. The time is now. The alignment is here. The way is open. Let this truth settle in your spirit. You don't have to return to the old path. You don't have to revisit the spaces that couldn't hold you. You don't have to explain why you've changed. Growth doesn't require permission. Elevation doesn't need validation. And the new doors opening before you don't require the old you to enter. In fact, they demand a version of you that's been forged by the fire and crowned by the quiet victories no one saw. So when the opportunity comes, and it will, walk through it boldly. When the right connection appears, and it will, embrace it without fear. When the divine timing strikes, and it's striking now, don't shrink. Don't hesitate. Don't question whether you're worthy. You are. You always were. The delay wasn't denial. It was design. You needed time to grow into the power that was already yours. This path is laced with signs, sacred reminders that you're being led, not lost. Every time you felt overlooked, the divine was overseeing your journey. Every time you were passed by, you were being preserved. The redirection wasn't random. It was perfect. And now that the moment is arriving, you'll see why it had to happen the way it did. You'll see why the tears were necessary. You'll see why the pause was divine. Nothing you went through was wasted. Not one breakdown. Not one betrayal. Not one night spent questioning your worth. All of it has become the soil where this moment is blooming. All of it has prepared you for this very unfolding. You are not the same. You are wiser. You are deeper. You are stronger. And most of all, you are finally ready. Not for survival, but for overflow. This is not the end of your story. It's the ignition. The divine runway has been cleared. And what's ahead is acceleration like you've never seen. Everything you thought was gone is being restored in better form. Everything you feared you lost is being returned in multiplied strength. This is the divine echo. I've made a way where you thought there was none. And the truth is, you always knew. Somewhere deep in your soul, you always sensed that something greater was ahead, that your name had more meaning, that your pain had more purpose, that your steps were not just movement, they were destiny in motion. Now, chosen one, the wait is over. The next step is lit. The path is forming beneath your feet as you walk. You are not being led to just any outcome. You are being led to the one that was always meant for you. You've come too far to turn around now. You've sacrificed too much to settle for anything less than what's fully aligned. This is not the season to question the path. It's the season to trust the shift. You're not losing control. You're gaining alignment. You're not being pulled away from purpose. You're being pulled deeper into it. The resistance you're feeling is not rejection. It's the pressure that forms diamonds. The pressure that reveals what's already been prepared. Understand this. The The path is not supposed to look familiar. That's the point. You're walking into something you've never seen before. You're stepping into a frequency your past never touched. So, of course it feels strange. Of course it feels surreal. That's how you know it's divine. God isn't leading you to a replica of what you've known. He's leading you to the reality that's been reserved for you all along. The reason the old things had to fall apart is because they were built on the version of you that no longer exists. That version of you needed external validation. That version of you over-explained. That version of you settled for fragments when you were designed for fullness. And now, after all the shedding, all the surrendering, all the silence, you're ready. Not perfect, but ready. Not fearless, but faithful. And that is more than enough. The way that is being made is not paved by logic, it's paved by alignment. You're not going to be able to explain it to everyone. You're not going to be able to make it make sense to the people who only understand movement by sight. But you're different now. You don't need the full picture to believe. You don't need proof to proceed. You only need peace. And that's what you have now. A kind of peace that doesn't negotiate. A kind of peace that anchors you in storms that once would have shattered you. The evidence is already rising. Subtle shifts, divine interruptions, people being moved, situations reorganizing. What was once a closed circuit is now cracking open with light. You don't have to force it. You don't have to rush it. You just have to stay in position. Because when God makes a way, it's not dependent on your perfection. It's dependent on your posture. And your posture now, it's surrendered. It's strong. It's aligned. You are not being called forward by chance. You are being summoned by design. Your name is on things you haven't even imagined yet. Your voice is meant to echo in places your feet haven't touched. Your energy is required in atmospheres that are craving authenticity. You're not just walking into opportunity, you're becoming the opportunity. You're not waiting for the blessing. You are the blessing arriving on time. This is why it couldn't come sooner. You would have self-sabotaged it. You would have second-guessed it. You would have tried to shrink to fit it. But now, your spirit is expanded. Now your worth is unshakable. Now you understand that elevation requires separation. That not everyone was meant to continue the journey with you. That sometimes the solitude is sacred. It's in the quiet that the new vision emerges. Let them think you disappeared. Let them assume you fell off. While they were watching distractions, you were being positioned for destiny. While they were entertained by the surface, you were being shaped in the deep. And now, as the divine path opens, they'll wonder how you moved so quickly. They'll wonder how you soared without permission. But you'll know the truth. It was never about the spotlight. It was always about the source. Stay grounded in the knowing that you are guided. Every step you take is part of a blueprint only heaven could draft. And no matter how unpredictable it seems, you are not wandering. You are walking straight into prophecy. The way being made for you doesn't just change your direction. It changes your identity. It realigns you with who you were before the world told you to play small. This is what rebirth feels like. Not with fireworks or noise, but with clarity, with ease, with unmistakable confirmation. And as you continue to move, the right people will find you. The right opportunities will open. The right connections will unfold. You don't need to force your light. You only need to be. You only need to walk. Because the road is forming beneath your every step. There comes a moment in every chosen one's life when the atmosphere begins to respond to them. Not because they demanded it, but because they became aligned with who they were born to be. That's the moment you're walking into now. The shift isn't just spiritual, it's material, it's energetic, it's personal. Everything is recalibrating itself to match the vibration you now carry. And what a powerful vibration it is. Gone are the days when you tried to fit in places you had outgrown. Gone is the version of you that settled just to be accepted. Gone are the loops of delay, confusion, and spiritual fatigue. This is not a recycle. It's a resurrection, a holy uprising of everything that was buried too soon, a revival of every vision you were once too weary to pursue, a restoration of the dreams that refused to die, even in the dark. You didn't lose your purpose. You outgrew the limitations that were placed on it. And now that the shell has cracked, the essence is free. The real you, the bold you, the visionary you, the deeply rooted and divinely backed you, is emerging unapologetically. That emergence is not random. It's not accidental. It's prophetic. It's timed to perfection. You are walking in days that were written before your birth. You are fulfilling promises whispered over your life in moments you forgot. The path that is opening now didn't just appear. It was made for you. Not the version you pretended to be. Not the version shaped by trauma. But the real you. The whole you. The chosen you. You'll begin to notice that what once drained you can no longer reach you. People, situations, energies, they simply don't have access to your frequency anymore. That's because elevation comes with separation. It's not punishment, it's protection. You can't carry old weight into new dimensions. You can't bring expired energy into activated seasons. Everything that is falling away is making space for what's been prepared. Don't mourn what the divine is removing. Don't fight to keep what's being released. You don't need to beg for what's already yours. You only need to rise and receive. That is your instruction now. Rise and receive. The way is opening through favor, through flow, through the kind of grace that doesn't need explanation. Emails you didn't expect. Phone calls that change everything. Open doors that no resume could have opened. That's what divine movement looks like. It's when your name is brought up in rooms your feet haven't stepped into yet. It's when things move behind the scenes and suddenly everything is in place. You don't owe anyone an explanation for this season of breakthrough. You don't need to justify the pace of your growth. Some will be confused. Let them be. Some will be silent. Let them be. Some will try to reconnect once they see the light on you. Bless them, but stay aligned. The version of you that allowed repeated access to draining cycles no longer exists. You are not being elevated to impress. You are being elevated to impact. And that means your time is sacred now. Your voice is sacred now. Your peace is sacred now. The way God is making isn't just for you to walk in glory, it's for you to lead others to it. This blessing isn't just personal, it's generational. Your rise is breaking patterns that held your lineage captive. Your clarity is birthing movements. Your obedience is unlocking overflow for those connected to you. Let that settle in. You're not walking into luxury, you're walking into legacy. You're not walking for applause, you're walking with authority. And that authority doesn't come from being loud, it comes from being grounded. You know who you are now, you know whose you are, and that knowing changes everything. In the stillness of the night, you'll feel it. In the warmth of the morning light, you'll sense it. The way is open. The path is firm. The calling is clear. You don't need to have all the answers. You only need to keep saying yes. Yes to the flow. Yes to the growth. Yes to the unfolding. Yes to the miracle that is your life. Taking shape one sacred step at a time. This is your confirmation. Chosen one. The wait was not in vain. The wilderness was not a punishment. The silence was not God turning his back on you. It was him turning up the volume of your destiny. While others questioned if you still had a future, heaven was preparing a stage that only divine hands could build. Now, the curtain is lifting, the lights are shifting, and your name is echoing louder in rooms of purpose. You're not just walking into an answered prayer, you are becoming the embodiment of one. You are the miracle someone else has been waiting for. You are the living proof that even after devastation, after drought, after disappointment, life continues. Joy returns, and purpose rises stronger than ever. Let go of the timeline you once clung to. It didn't delay the blessing, it preserved the blessing. What's arriving now needed you to evolve first. It needed you to become a version of yourself that could sustain what's coming without collapsing under the pressure. You've done that. You've grown in the shadows. You've strengthened in silence. You've become the one who can carry this weight and wear this crown. You don't need to rehearse what's next. You've already lived through the preparation. You don't need to perfect your steps. Grace is already clearing the path. You don't need to predict the outcome. The outcome has already been written, and it ends in glory. What's unfolding now is the manifestation of the promise, not the vague hope of something better, but the detailed unveiling of what was already marked with your name. You are not being rushed, you are being revealed. The version of you the world is about to see is the version that heaven has always known. Confident, healed, whole, still humble, but no longer hidden, still grounded, but now glowing, still grateful, but now unstoppable. The voice you once silenced is now becoming a trumpet. The ideas you once suppressed are now becoming strategy. And the energy you once wasted trying to prove your worth is now being used to walk in it. Look at where you stand. You're not in the same place. You've climbed out of pits no one saw. You've released identities that no longer fit. You've surrendered battles that were never yours to fight. And now, you're walking in a new light, a quiet power, an undeniable grace, a rhythm that is not rushed, but real. You don't have to catch up with anyone. You're exactly where you're meant to be. You'll begin to notice something powerful: ease. Not because life has no challenges, but because your soul is no longer in resistance. You're flowing with what's meant for you. You're letting go of what isn't. And you're no longer chasing anything. You're attracting everything. This is the reward of trust, the reward of surrender, the reward of holding on even when everything told you to let go. The blessings that are arriving now aren't random. They're the result of alignment, of walking when you didn't feel like walking, of believing when you had no evidence, of praying when your heart was tired. That kind of faith rewrites timelines. It defies logic, it breaks cycles, and now it's bringing you into rooms you once only saw in dreams. The way has been made, not by systems, not by luck, but by spirit. Every obstacle you faced was a setup for this divine release. Every delay was orchestrated to make the reveal even more powerful. Every no was preparing you for a bigger yes, and every detour was building the exact version of you that is finally ready to stand in what's next. Let this moment ground you in truth. You are no longer waiting. You are walking. You are no longer questioning. You are knowing. You are no longer hoping. You are receiving. What's been reserved is arriving. What's been held is being handed to you. What's been delayed is being delivered. The way is not coming. It is here. So walk with your head held high, not because of pride, but because of clarity. Move with grace, not because of perfection, but because of purpose. Speak with boldness, not because of ego, but because you've survived storms that tried to silence you. And love, deeply, freely, without fear, because love is what carried you through the darkness. God doesn't need permission to shift your life. He needs your agreement. He needs your readiness. And chosen one, you are ready. You are ready not because you feel fearless, but because you felt everything and still refuse to quit. That kind of spiritual grit is rare. That kind of faith is unshakable. That kind of soul posture moves heaven. So now, as you walk into what's next, let go of the pressure to make it all happen. This isn't the season for striving. This is the season for receiving. The heaviness you carried is being lifted. The delay you endured is dissolving. And the vision you held onto, sometimes barely, is becoming reality. Doors are opening. Connections are forming. Energy is aligning. And your spirit knows it. That flutter in your chest, that fire in your gut, that deep, quiet knowing. It's all confirming what your eyes are about to see. You're not imagining it. You're not being dramatic. You're awakening. You're entering the current of what was always meant for you. You don't need to chase. You don't need to convince. You don't even need to speak loudly. Just be. Just move. Just stay open. Because this is not about what you do. It's about who you are. And who you are is in alignment with the way that is being made. Not tomorrow, not next year. Now, you've passed through what others didn't survive. Not because you were lucky, but because you were chosen. There's a weight that comes with that, but there's also a grace that follows it. The kind of grace that can't be explained, only experienced. You may not have always seen the hand that held you, but it held you just the same. And now, the fruit of every unseen moment is beginning to bloom in public view. You are no longer waiting for the conditions to be perfect. You've realized that the power has never been in the conditions. It has always been in the calling. You could have quit, but you didn't. You could have disappeared, but you chose to evolve. That's why this moment is different. This isn't just a result. It's a revelation of who you really are and what happens when heaven favors a soul who refuses to stay small. Let them wonder how it happened. Let them question how you got here, because you won't have to explain yourself. The transformation will speak for itself. The favor on your life will speak for itself. The speed of the shift, the boldness of the outcome, the clarity of your voice. It will all echo what your soul has known for years. You didn't miss your moment, you became it. Your story is not just unfolding, it's multiplying. Everything you touch now carries light. Everything you move toward accelerates. And everything that used to block you no longer has permission to stay in your path. This is sacred ground. The atmosphere around you is responding differently now because you are different. You're moving in alignment, not anxiety, in power, not pressure, in grace, not grind. You no longer ask for tables, you build them. You no longer beg for seats, you design the whole room. Because now you understand. You were never just called to enter. You were called to lead. And leadership doesn't mean noise. It means presence, stillness, deep inner knowing. That's what they'll feel when you walk into a space. That's what they'll remember when you speak. Don't fear your rising. Don't shrink from your own power. Don't apologize for the favor that follows you. You paid for this clarity in ways only the divine could measure. You earned this momentum through fire, silence, sacrifice, and surrender. This isn't just your time, it's your territory. You're not hoping anymore, you're harvesting. And this harvest isn't just for you, it's for your lineage, Your choices now are healing generations behind you and empowering generations ahead of you. You are the pivot point, the one who changed everything, the one who said, "No more cycles of confusion, no more surviving at the edge of potential, no more playing small." You broke the chains, you shattered the limits, you walked through the fire, and now you walk in favor. What once terrified you now excites you. What once confused you now empowers you. You've become the calm in the storm, the light in the shadow, the clarity in the chaos, and it shows. The people around you feel the difference. They may not be able to name it, but they feel it. That's because your energy has shifted from waiting to walking, from questioning to knowing, from hoping to receiving. And now, every step you take sends ripples into the atmosphere. You are no longer a seeker, you are an anchor. Even the way you pray has changed. You no longer plead, you declare. You no longer wonder, you listen. You no longer strive, you align. And that alignment is why the road keeps opening in front of you. You're not pushing against anything anymore. You're moving with it. You've become the current. You've become the open way. This is what happens when you finally surrender the timeline and embrace the divine timing. You no longer wake up in panic. You wake up in peace. You no longer question the journey. You honor it. You no longer look outward for permission. You look inward for alignment. And because of that, the external world is starting to bend toward you. Opportunities are showing up without warning. People are reaching out without explanation. Situations are aligning without manipulation. Why? Because you're no longer participating in your old frequency. You stopped fighting battles that weren't yours. You stopped performing for people who never saw your worth. You stopped running toward doors you were never meant to enter. Now the doors are opening for you. Now the path is rising to meet your steps. Now your name is being spoken with reverence. But even in this glory, there's a new kind of responsibility, a sacred one. Because not everyone can walk in this rhythm and remain grounded. Not everyone can experience rapid elevation and still move with humility. But you've been prepared. You've been tested. You've been refined in fire. That's why you won't fall. That's why this momentum won't overwhelm you. You've learned how to protect your peace without apology. You've learned how to guard your energy without guilt. You've learned how to say no from a place of power instead of people-pleasing. And that's why this season is going to last. Because the blessing doesn't just need to arrive, it needs to be sustained. And now, you're the version of you who can sustain it. You're no longer the version that burns out for approval. You're no longer the version that gives away sacred insight to anyone who asks. You are discerning. You are wise. You are steady. And above all, you are focused. There's a quiet intensity inside of you now. You don't have to shout to be heard. Your presence speaks. Your silence speaks. Your actions speak. Because everything about you has become intentional. You're not moved by trends. You're not shaken by noise. You're anchored in your purpose. And the world can feel that. That's why the people who once doubted you are now curious. That's why those who counted you out are now trying to understand your rise. But this isn't about proving anything. This isn't about revenge or recognition. This is about destiny. This is about divine order finally becoming visible. You didn't ask for a spotlight. You were assigned to be seen. You'll begin to notice that the more you align, the lighter everything feels. You'll walk into rooms that once made you nervous and feel completely at home. You'll speak truths that once trembled in your chest with complete conviction. You'll move through your days with a sense of deep trust, even when the details aren't clear. That's how you'll know you're walking in rhythm. That's how you'll know God made the way. This rhythm will protect you. It will preserve you. It will prioritize your peace over pressure, your presence over performance, and your power over panic. Don't trade that rhythm for anything. Not urgency, not approval, not fear, disguised as opportunity. Let the world rush. Let others chase. Let them exhaust themselves, trying to manufacture what's flowing naturally for you. You are no longer in that cycle. You are no longer bound to the old laws of scarcity, confusion, or fear. You are under a new covenant, one where provision meets purpose, one where clarity replaces chaos, one where peace becomes your compass. And that compass will never fail you again. This is your season to witness it all come together. The healing, the clarity, the calling, the abundance, the favor, the vision. You don't have to push. You don't have to beg. You just have to align and allow. What's meant for you is moving towards you. Faster now, stronger now, brighter now, because you're not just ready, you're chosen. The way is made. Walk it, live it, be it, and never again doubt who you are. The journey continues, chosen one. But from this moment forward, you'll walk it differently, not with fear,